It's a good thing I like Aubrey Plaza. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We are here to do some rants and raves. This time we watched Emily the Criminal. Jimmy's been bugging us for weeks, maybe months, to watch this movie. We finally did it. Matt, tell the viewers what this movie is about.
Emily the Criminal is a film that follows Emily Benito, a young woman saddled with student debt and locked out of the job market due to a criminal record, who gets involved in a credit card scam that pulls her into the criminal underworld of Los Angeles. Which really brings us right into the kind of movie this is. This is not a typical movie for, today's age. It definitely has a different feel to it.
I mean, it was it was clearly an independent. They were trying to do some stuff, but I'm going to throw this right to Jimmy because Jimmy, you love this movie. You've been pestering us to watch this. Why?
Yeah. So, I mean, the movie is a good, entertaining movie. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say that, oh, okay, this is like one of the best of all time. It's not that, right? But it is a good, entertaining movie. And, Aubrey Plaza, I mean, we typically know her as the comedian, right? And that's usually the roles that she plays. She usually there's some sort of comedic role that
She's
she'll
known
play.
for being sarcastic.
Yeah, exactly, right. Sarcastic and being funny, right? We did another movie not long ago, Operation Fortune, where she did her usual sarcastic type, funny role, and she was good in that movie too. But this one, completely different spin, completely different role, not her usual role. And this was the first role that I had seen her in, being serious, in a drama, right, playing the serious role and not the sarcastic role that she normally would play. And so that you know um, I mean, going into the movie, when the first time I saw it, um, I was expecting. I was like, okay, well, this sounds like a drama. As a matter of fact, the genre was drama, and I was like, well, okay, so what is she going to do? Her normal sarcastic thing? And when I watched it, it was a pleasant surprise that it wasn't. And I thought, probably, arguably, the best role that she's had in any movie that she's done. So that's what impressed me. Now, some of the other characters and that kind of thing, maybe, they're kind of like B-level actors. Most of the other actors that are in this movie, there's a few recognizable characters in there that you'll see, right? And they all did, okay in their roles, right? They played their parts, and that kind of thing. But really, I mean, just the star, the whole thing was, Aubrey Plaza, and just the job that she did, and that's what impressed me about the movie, right? I mean, there's other things, and you'll probably hear Clyde chime in on that, and I'm not saying this is the most ironclad plot there ever was or anything like that, but I just found her role to be entertaining. Is what I liked about the movie.
I find it funny that you use the term entertaining because I didn't find anything about this movie entertaining. But I mean, not every movie is. But yeah, I think the only reason I made it through this entire movie is because I had it playing on the TV in the garage while I was working on a car.
Hmm.
So I was able to sit there and I could see it and I could hear it and feel it. But the plot kind of felt like they just were figuring it out as they went along.
Oh, well,
It's like they had a premise and then they wrote it to a point and then just kind of so well she's going to do this. Okay, well then what happens as a result?
right. Well, in a way, this movie kind of asks the question, how does somebody become a criminal? And they try to answer it in a way. And that so that's kind of almost the point of the
one
movie.
version of how that could happen.
Right.
Yeah,
And
sure. And I got no problem with that.
So,
Um,
but
yeah.
so to me, there's remember back in Shakespeare days, all plays were either comedies or tragedies. This is
How
definitely a
old do you
tragedy.
think I am? Even Jimmy's not that old.
well, I don't think they make
I can-
tragedies like this anymore.
Oh, no, no. I
Seriously.
was referring to your comment, remember
I know,
back
I
in
know,
Shakespeare
I know.
days. No, I
understand.
don't.
I'm sorry. But no, they just don't make this kind of feeling of of tragedy, or Macbeth and Romeo and Juliet are really tragic, bad things happen and nobody's happy at the end of the movie or the end of the play kind of
Except
thing.
in this one, there is the hurricane that comes in that causes all the death and destruction goes on unpunished and continues ruining people's lives.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is called Emily the Criminal, not Mary Poppins.
Well, it's so what? There's lots of movies with criminals, people becoming criminals. That usually you want to see the bad person get their due, you know. Um, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is not the good morality tale.
No.
That's
Yeah.
for sure, right? You know, hence the title. I mean, the title kind of tells you that, right?
And Emily, let's talk about Emily. Emily, she is the kind of character who doesn't take things lying down. She doesn't take she makes decisions that are bold and brash and very likely sometimes I will say the wrong decision. Not necessarily the right thing to do.
Right.
And there's a series of those in this movie, which basically leads her down her path of where she ultimately ends up, and that is her story. And I know for Clyde that bothered him a lot, and yeah,
I don't like people that can't follow simple instructions. This is in
Yes.
real life. This is in movies. I hate that. And the problem here is that they undercut they tried to write a strong female character, which is fine. This movie had a very clear motivation that they were trying to position her as promote the power of a woman. But then they completely undercut it by making her an idiot, unable to follow instructions. That is my problem. It's not the fact that she's a woman. It's the fact that they sabotaged her character in the writing. They could have told the same story without her doing, because there's a million other things that could have gone wrong without her, just I
So Clyde, let me ask you: do you think criminals in general follow instructions?
Successful ones do.
Really? Well,
Yeah,
if they follow instructions, then they wouldn't be a criminal, would they?
No, being a criminal means that they're breaking laws.
That's
they're
right.
causing crimes.
They're not following the laws, which
but
are set up
but
instructions
when
by society.
but if a bunch of people go in to rob a bank, they have a plan. If one of those people, if everybody follows the plan, a lot of times they will get away. If they don't if someone just decides, screw it, I'm not following the plan, then they're guaranteed that every single one of them is going to fail. And in this case, that one person that chose to ignore the instruction, the plan, is the one that gets away.
right.
So that's what I'm getting at. This has nothing to do with them being criminals.
Okay, so Clyde is hung up on the movie because of a set of
No, I'm saying that was the thing I hated about her character and this story.
Okay.
Had it not had, otherwise, I mean, it would have been fine. Because there's a million other ways that this could have, they could have all gotten their due, and she could have gotten away in the end without that stupid writing. It was just that one thing. It just, I hated it.
Okay, so if she'd followed the instructions to the T, but then there was a security camera that nobody knew about,
Yeah, that's fine.
That exposed her, then you
Exactly.
would have been happy.
Yeah, that would have been fine, and it wouldn't have completely undercut her character.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say that I actually thought the movie was pretty good. All truth be told, I didn't like it. Now that's something. There's a thing. There's a difference there.
Mm-hmm.
You can not like a movie and still think the movie is good. My perfect example to that is I really hated the movie Castaway. It was a really good movie. I hated watching it. It was painful to watch. So I this movie also would fall not necessarily that bad. I thought this movie was a good movie. It was made decently. The production quality was there. I liked the performance of all the actors. I even felt they're like your B-grade actors in this were great. They all did really well in their parts. It's just the story itself was like, man, this is really kind of a horrible thing. I really, that's not the kind of movie I want to watch. So I didn't like it that much because of that. But it was a very well made movie. It was a good movie. And if that's the kind of thing that you're in, if you're interested in, if you want to see how tragedies used to be, well, here's a great example of that for you. Yeah. This is also a great, way of explaining this is how you have bad decisions end up making bad things happen. So
yeah, I agree with that, Matt. I mean, this is in no way a good story, right? No. I mean, it's not a good story at all, right? And that's but the thing, what I alluded to earlier about it being entertaining, what was entertaining to me is just how well Aubrey Plaza did in the role, right? And and I take Clyde's point, that okay, there was a couple of things in there not following instructions and make it maybe blatant that she didn't follow instructions and all. And it caused people to get killed as a result and all. I could understand why that might be a turnoff to the movie. But still, the role that she did right in this movie, I mean, to me it was like when I first saw the movie, complete surprise, right? It's like, wow, I didn't realize she was that type of actress.
So both of you are really into Aubrey Plaza a lot more than I am, and of what I've seen of her, this is a pretty big change for her. She almost doesn't look or act like herself, which you may be admiring that. That might be
exactly.
You know what that's called?
What it is.
Good acting.
It's just called acting. Yeah.
Good acting.
See, it's something that Melissa McCarthy has never been accused of. It's the same character in every movie, regardless. Yeah. But I didn't have a problem with the acting. Aubrey Plaza was great. Everybody was great. They were believable. It was just some of the lazy writing that really irritated me, and it kind of ruined the story for me. I mean, for the production quality, it looked great. I believe this was an independent, lower budget movie, which was kind of evident in their shooting locations and, lack of, there's only a few places that they shot. But it looked great.
Well, one other character I want to call out that I really like. I'm looking on the IMDb, and I'm not seeing the actress's name, but it was the actress that played Yusuf's mother.
Oh, was that Gina Gershon? No. Gina Gershon was the lady boss that she.
I think you're talking about Luna, who was played by Sheila Corsi.
Okay, maybe that was who it was. Okay. I enjoyed her. She only had a small role, but I enjoyed that character quite a bit.
Loving mother, absolutely.
Yeah. Here, have a drink. It's a tradition, right? And Yusuf laughs and said, "It's not a tradition.
You
She
take
just wants
little
some.
sips. You take little sips.
She just wants somebody to drink with her. That's all."
Yeah, she was a breath of fresh air in that movie. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And it,
yeah,
quite frankly, I felt like this movie doesn't have much comic relief, and I think that qualifies as comic relief in that movie. So yeah, it needed that definitely at about the halfway point in the movie.
Mhm.
So I got to tell you something I didn't like about this.
Mhm.
Two things that I didn't like at all about it. First of all, before I watched the movie, I watched the trailer. I
Oh,
shouldn't have done that.
no. Never ever watch the trailer.
I
Don't.
got eight. They boiled down the 80% of the best parts of the movie into the trailer.
Yeah, of course they did.
So I didn't really need to watch a lot of it, quite frankly. It's like I've seen all this. And the other thing is, I'm sure this is because they're low budget. There was almost no music through the whole movie until
Yeah.
maybe getting to the very end. There was finally a little bit. It felt dry to me. It felt
I will agree. The lack of music made this feel like it was just dragging. It was a slog.
right. Music probably would have helped the pacing of the movie a little bit for me.
Mhm.
It doesn't even have to be something. It didn't need to be lighthearted. Just something, maybe a little bit of action, a little bit
Mhm.
of like heart racing, like something's going on with her kind of thing. That would have been
Yeah,
nice.
they
But
spent $25 on Pond 5. They could have downloaded something.
maybe they spent their entire budget on the one movie.
I mean,
the
hell, they
track
could
we had
just
at the
go
end.
to
Who knows?
YouTube. The YouTube has a free library of music that you can use.
There are many of those. Yes.
Um, but yeah.
Yeah,
Uh
that's a good point there, right? Yeah, there wasn't much music to the movie at all.
No,
Hardly.
and which made it feel, yes, kind of authentic, but also, man, it could use something to kind of keep it going part for that first part of the movie. So
Hmm.
yeah.
I don't know.
So was there anything that you did like though?
Um, I've mostly I'm talking about the way that the characters were, you know, it's like it's how that the characters are, how the actresses of the most of them in this movie are actresses, how especially Aubrey uh reacted, and how she was believable in what she was trying to do. You didn't feel like she was pulling any punches. You did feel like she was scared when she was scared. You did feel like she was gonna kick somebody's ass when she was gonna kick somebody's ass. She that was really the heart of the show. Without that, this would have been a bomb. Absolutely. Without that, this would have been absolutely impossible to watch.
Yeah, I will say I did like Aubrey Plaza. Um but I did not like the way her character was written.
Right.
The motivations and the decisions that her character was scripted into. That just kind of ruined everything for me. Jimmy, like, dislike.
Well, I mean, I've said it. The role that Aubrey Plaza. I mean, that's just going to keep checking on down the list, right? Can't say enough about the role that she played, and the other actors too. Even though they're not really headline actors, I thought they too did a pretty good job in the movie as well. Um, but so definitely like the acting and all. But things I didn't like, um, you know, I mean, there were some things in there that, like making the credit cards, right? I didn't feel like they had enough tech behind
No,
making
that was
the fake
that was
credit
kind
cards,
of
right?
ridiculous.
So that right there, I mean, I guess maybe they had to dumb it down a little bit, and not to put too much tech into it, right? To so that people could relate to it more, I guess, right? But I know just embossing numbers into a credit card, right, is not making a fake number. I mean, it's not all there is
Well,
to
they
living a
had
fake
no, they
credit card.
did have the programmer thing that you have to
Mhm.
swipe it, which is what programs the.
Right.
So
They had
the
stolen
embosser
numbers.
is necessary because depending on the type of card you're using, it has to have the raised letters. If it doesn't,
Right.
then it's not. Now, a lot of modern ones
They
don't have
anymore.
that anymore.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. All modern ones, all the ones in my wallet don't have that.
I mean, I will say of the cards in
10
my
years ago, they all
wallet,
did.
uh, in the right now, at least 50% are raised letters, and the other ones are not. And I will say I prefer the raised letter ones because they don't wear out from rubbing.
Oh,
I had to replace one of my debit cards after 2 months because all the numbers had rubbed off the back. Just from being in my wallet, you know. Um,
Mhm.
but no, I agree with you. The tech was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Plus, too, another problem I had was like the first television that she goes in to get, and it's $2,000. I was like, man, I wouldn't pay $2,000 for that television.
well, obviously,
So,
it was 1999 when this was done. That's why that's all embossed credit cards.
well,
And
1999, there were no flat
if,
screen TVs.
if it had been 1999, maybe it would be a little bit more believable,
That that boom,
or
yeah,
closer
the
to
the
that.
flat
Yeah.
screen boom was '06 was when we started getting the affordable DLP and plasma.
Mhm.
And then it would be like 2010 would be
right.
when you had the
Yeah.
Black
Yeah.
Friday, and that would have been
Maybe.
like a $2,000 TV.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, but keep in mind, 2000 is what she paid for it, and then
mhm.
what are they gonna? I mean, so they're taking that in. It's stolen, I guess,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, what they're paying her $200
Yeah.
to buy that
It was
TV?
like for the first one she got like $200, and then they're gonna probably sell it for five, $600, and so no matter what, they're making a profit.
Right.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah,
but
yeah. So that's some of that I don't think was well thought out, right? Because if you think about it for a little bit, it's like, yeah, I'm not sure if that
yeah.
math works out, right? I mean, maybe so, but yeah.
All right.
But
Well,
anyway, but I mean, some of that they could have, maybe put a little bit more into it, but still, it was still well enough to, get the gist of it.
so value we normally talk about would you subscribe to a service, but being that this is a movie, I will ask, would you pay money to rent or purchase this movie? I
I'm
can't
gonna have to.
remember if we did or not.
Uh, no, this was free on Netflix,
Okay.
but would I have gone to the movie to see this? Probably not. Would I have rented it at the theater? Wouldn't have been my choice.
Let's say, we'll phrase it a little bit different then. If you let's say you're gonna tell somebody to watch it, would you recommend that they rent it if that's the only option, or
Wait until it streams for free.
yeah? See, and
Right.
I'm in the same boat. If it's free, fine. If you have to pay money to watch it, wait until it comes back to a free service. That's
For,
my value on this.
so for me, here I'll tell it like this. So the first time I saw this movie, I was on an airplane
Mm-hmm.
flying, so I got to watch it for free, right?
Well, you paid
However,
for
I enjoyed it so much to where I knew that my wife would enjoy this type of movie, right? So when I got home, I told my wife about it, and I ended up renting the movie so she
Okay.
could watch it, right? So, but now had I not watched it for free, I'll be honest and say, no, I probably wouldn't have
Mm-mm.
rented it. I would have just waited until it come out on
Right.
Netflix or something and watch it for free. But after I had saw it on the plane, I was like, oh, this is quite entertaining. I think my wife would like it. Yeah, I'll spend, $4, $5, whatever it is to rent it and let her watch it. Right. And when I did do that, she watched it. She too enjoyed the movie. Right. She really liked it.
Okay. Now, we know that Jimmy would definitely recommend this since he pestered us for so long to watch it.
Yep.
What about you, Matt? Would you recommend this movie?
So I think if you're, I would ask somebody, hey, do you know what a tragedy is? I mean, a real tragedy, that kind of, movie that they're gonna. If they say yes, I'd say sure, go ahead and watch it. You might like it. If you're not, if you're looking for something that's gonna make you feel good, no, would not recommend this movie.
Yeah. This falls back in my default. It depends. Most people probably wouldn't recommend it. Most people I know, but possibly. So it really depends. I don't know. All right. Well, that's what we think. And the question is, what do you think? Let us know down in the down in the chat. I don't even know. I normally give you some sort of instruction on what to tell us. I don't even know. I'm at a loss for words over this one. So, yeah, uh, let us know. And that's it. Thanks. We will see y'all next time.